Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Desmond.
Hey, Tom, how you doing?
Good. I thought there was an echo.
Can you hear me?
You scared me for a second there. Gosh, what an interesting morning I've had already. In picking up the donuts this morning at Giant, if you've ever been to the donut case at Giant, I'm walking back the aisle and I can see the entire thing is filled up, which is awesome. That way you can select from just about anything. So I get back there and I start picking out the donuts, and this woman comes out and she's like all hyperventilating. And apparently somebody was there before me and had dropped a cream-filled donut on the floor. Well, they got the donut portion up, but the cream was all over the place and I was standing in it. It gets better. So she tells me to move. So naturally I'm going to move. So I'm then picking out the donuts and picking out the rest of the stuff, go to pay for it, walk out, grab the bags. And in case you guys don't know, I usually park at the farthest place in any parking lot I go. And the reason why I do that is for exercise. I've been doing it for years. Somebody told me to do that. And they said, over the course of a year or so, you will get so many more steps in. So that's the reason why I park all the way in the back here. So at Giant's parking lot, I'm all the way in the back. So I start walking out and this bird follows me. It's one of the seagull type birds. It's trailing behind me. And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? Anyway, I believe it was after my shoe. It followed me all the way up to the car. And I said, get out of here. So that was my morning. Had slightly. Welcome. Got a lot of things to talk about today. One of the things toward the end of the meeting that we're going to talk about is, I think everybody has heard, unless you've been under a rock, the word recession. And there's a lot of dialogue out there. There's a lot of questions from your clients, potential clients about recession and how it might affect you in the real estate business and what we do. So I thought I'd spend a good portion of the last part of the meeting here talking about recession, what it really does mean, especially to the residential real estate business. So hopefully you can take something from this, use it with your clients, because they're seeing the same things that you are. They're reading headlines, they're doing all kinds of things. So, okay. First up, if my thing will work, try this. There we go. So first up is Dan and James. And James, I'm going to call on you first. I think you got two separate topics.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. Cameron, morning. I want to talk this morning something that was kind of more prevalent years ago when seller assist and things like that were more common. It seems to be coming back a little bit, is temporary buy downs for interest rates. So what's a temporary buy down for people that don't know? It's a buy down where the interest rate is bought down temporarily. So what we have available is either a 2-in-1 buy down or 1-0 buy down. So essentially what happens, say the interest rate's 6%. The seller can pay for the buyer to lower their interest rate to 4% for a year. After 1 year, it goes to 5%. After that year's over, it goes up to the rate that essentially it would be if they locked in normally. The seller must pay that, and that would have to be in accordance with like the seller assist limits for all the different programs. But it's you know, the buyer has to qualify based on that high rate. So they have to qualify on the 6%. That's going to be the big thing there, and they have to have at least a 680 credit score. It's only going to be on 1 unit primary residence, but they can refi out of it. So say rates go down into the 4s or 3s or something like that later, they can refinance out of this 2-to-1 buy down, for instance. The cost for that for the seller, what we do is take in the first year, the difference between the principal and interest payment from the lower rate, that 4% rate, and the 6% rate, and then multiply that by 12 over 12 months, and then the same thing second year and that higher rate. So just as an example, kind of did something, another loan officer kind of did some math on it. $200,000 loan amount, it came to about $3,600 that the seller was paying towards, for the buyer to get this lower rate for a temporary amount of time. A lot of times we see it with new construction. It was more prevalent before, but it's something that it's kind of another option for us with seller assist or something like that to help the buyers kind of ease into their mortgage, and especially if they know they're going to be making more money in years to come, it might be a good thing for them. And like I said, you can refinance out of it, so you don't have a 6% interest rate going forward. So it's something new. We have 3 or 4 investors that are allowing it. So if there's any questions on it, you want to talk more about it, reach out to Dan or myself, and we'd be happy to go through the scenarios, kind of the real world scenarios on that, and let you know what that looks like.
So after the 2 years, is it capped at 6?
Yes, it stays
So
at 6. It's not going to keep going.
To 8.5, they would have to go up to the.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Jane,
Yeah, we say
I'm
that's
sorry.
6.
They can't hear what you said. Can you repeat?
Yes. So the question was, after that second year, well, I guess it would be the third year, if that rate would go up any more above that 6% in the example, and it wouldn't. It would stay at that 6%. So,
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right.
All right. Good morning, everyone. So over the weekend, I had a couple questions on a property that was advertised in Bright with an assumable mortgage. And not sure if anyone has heard that term in a while, but an assumable mortgage, obviously, with the past 12 years, mortgage rates pretty much didn't go higher than the low 5s. Nobody really cared about an assumable mortgage because rates were, generally speaking, lower than that. Well, obviously, recently, since we've seen rates peak to the 5s and 6s, and if we look back to 2020 and 2021, when rates were mid 2s, low 3s, a lot of people that either purchased a home or refinanced a home during that 2-year period have a pretty favorable rate right now. If they're looking to sell and they have a mortgage that is assumable, seems like a pretty good marketing opportunity to market that house as the current owner has a rate at 2.75% when, market rates are 2 to 3% higher than that. So I'm familiar with assumable mortgages. I haven't ever had anything to do with one, but did a little research and thought it was a good opportunity to talk about it. So first and foremost, there's basically 3 types of loans that are assumable, and they're only the government loans. So that's FHA, VA, or USDA. Conventional loans are not assumable. So basically, what does it mean? Well, it means that a buyer of a property can assume the existing mortgage that's on that property. So they're assuming the terms, the interest rate, and the current mortgage balance. Now, in theory, that sounds like a good idea, but what happens if you have a house that's for sale for $300,000 and the current owner's mortgage balance is $150,000? Well, there's a $150,000 gap there. So what ends up happening is then the buyer of the property needs to find a way to bridge that gap for that other $150,000 if they're buying that property. There's 2 ways they can do it: cash or a home equity loan. They cannot get another first mortgage on that property. So, theoretically, it sounds like it might be a good idea. The buyer's lender has absolutely nothing to do with that, however. So the buyer of the property would have to go through the servicer of the current mortgage on the property to be able to obtain and take over that mortgage. So to assume that loan, they're dealing with the current owner's mortgage company. Seems a little complicated, which I absolutely agree it is. So the buyer has to qualify based on those servicers' guidelines. So, more often than not, the buyer's already going to have a pre-approval. There should not be an issue of assuming that mortgage, mind you, but it's somewhat of a complicated process. So obviously FHA, USDA, pretty much anyone can get. VA. So a non-veteran can assume a VA loan, which is kind of interesting. However, the veteran that has that loan, part of their VA loan is called an entitlement. If a non-veteran assumes the VA loan, the veteran's entitlement doesn't go away. So they still have a liability tied to that mortgage. If they were looking to buy another house, part of their entitlement would not be usable because someone that is a non-veteran assumed that mortgage. So it's a great marketing tool, but in a stronger buyer's market like we're in right now, where there's, I think still a decent amount of buyers looking to buy homes, I don't think sellers are having too much difficulty selling a home. It's a great marketing opportunity if there was a situation where a seller wanted to market their home with an assumable mortgage. I don't really see a tremendous amount of advantages with it. So, how do you accept the offer? Good question, because again, this is handled by the servicer, not by a loan officer. So the prospective buyer would have to go through the servicer's or the homeowner's mortgage company to worry, get about that. The processing time, again, nobody really knows what that's going to look like. So in my personal opinion, the main appeal to the assumable mortgage ultimately would be maybe a veteran that owns the property with a VA loan and they want to sell to another veteran. They could assume that mortgage and then their entitlement is going to be released. And obviously if, there's that bond there where I'm a veteran and I want to sell my home to a veteran, I have a 2.75 interest rate, that may be a good opportunity. But, basically in my opinion, I don't think an assumable mortgage is really going to be a tremendous opportunity for too many people at this point. But I just wanted to bring it up because you may come across it, with sellers potentially asking, well, hey, I have, FHA, USDA, VA. I know they're assumable. What does that mean? If you have any specific situations or questions or scenarios, obviously reach out to James or myself. We can at least give you some guidance, but ultimately we're going to refer you back to the servicer of that current loan. Anyone have any basic questions at this point I can answer? Okay, that's it.
I'll just lay it right there. Right there. Thank you. One word about this: when you assume a loan on an agreement of sale, what do you do in the mortgage contingency? Do you have a mortgage contingency? You really don't, because all you're doing is you're going to add a special clause to the agreement of sale that says it's contingent upon you being able to assume it. So underneath that clause or that section, you don't have to fill in the mortgage contingency section. It's just a special clause that goes at the end of the agreement of sale. So one note there. Our title team is actually in Harrisburg learning how to do better title. So they will join us the following week, and James is here. And James, right there is the microphone.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to go over a quick overview of how we do things here, or how I do things. A lot of you are probably familiar with it, but I just want to redo it basically. So normally once I get the TSR, the sales sheet, basically, I usually reach out to the customer about 3 times, in the space of a few days, depending on how long the closing date actually is. It could be longer if it's new construction and what have you. So, and I copy each of the realtors on that as well too. If I sell a policy to them, I always will let you guys know as well too, so you're aware of the situation basically. And I always contact the customer to let them know what e-forms are coming, what they need to sign, what to expect. I try to do that with a phone call. They don't always listen, but I try. So it seems the ones that don't listen ask me 15 questions afterwards, but it is what it is. So, and And I always let them know about inspections as well too. That's going to occur 99% of the time, more than likely it's going to occur, especially if there's a high value inspection as well too. And that varies on the company. Usually I would say about 750,000 or so. Most of them are going to want to inspect the inside and the outside. Depends on the company though. So, and I always advise them too about the evidence of insurance. If we're over 30 days from the closing point, legally, the evidence of insurance can only be issued within 30 days. So I always let them know that as well too, if we're far in advance for closing too. So, but other than that, that was all I had today.
You can just put it right there. Thank you, James. And joining us today is Desmond George, who is my echo in the first minute. So Desmond, take it away. And by the way, I do have your sheet that you gave me that I'll hand out to the group here. In addition, I couldn't get everything on one slide, so I divvied the top half on the first slide and the bottom half on the second slide.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm sorry for the echo. Hopefully I didn't scare you too much. So guys, good morning, and thank you for having me on, Tom. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to go over some highlights and some overviews of our new product. Our new product dropped on June 13th. So you should have all the new brochures and flyers in the office, Tom. If you guys need any more, please reach out. I'll be more than happy to bring them out there and get them ordered for you, okay?
And we do have all that supplied to us.
Okay, okay. So nothing has changed in terms of how and why you use the warranties. I'm still your contact guy. What we've done actually, we've actually taken a look at the product. We've actually reduced the restrictions and expanded the coverages. So we listened to the agents, listened to the customers, and a lot of the things that we previously denied, like, your standalone ice maker, your water line to your ice makers, your electrical fixtures, your plumbing issues, faucet, shower heads, things like that. A lot of the things that were sort of denied, we've opened it up because we realized it was causing a lot of blowback, not only for you, but obviously for me. My phone was off the hook, but this should make things a lot easier. In saying that, we retained all the key features and benefits that our warranties have. The no square foot limitation, no age restrictions. We have a 180-day guarantee. All that is still there. These are things that are sort of, I think the best in the business out there right now. We also have the emergency lodge reimbursement feature. I'm not sure if any of you have used that, but that's there. If you need more information about that, let me know. I can advise you. And I think a great feature, not too many of my co-workers talk about, is the appliance discount line. I think I've mentioned this before. Once someone is enrolled with our warranties, you have access to buy appliances and other things at cost. The same price that we pay, you can do that. And from what I've been told, for folks who've used it, you can save between 20 and 30% of retail. So it's something, take advantage of it. I mean, use that as a tool. That is a very good feature. And again, all of that has been retained. Our plans in terms of the prices, we have increased our products. All of our plans have increased by, I believe, $40 is the max increase. So whatever plan or package that you choose, the max increase is $40. I and the rest of us thought it would be somewhere nearer $70, $80. So I think we did pretty well there. Bearing in mind what's going on with inflation right now, that's not too much of an increase. Just sort of doubling back on the brochure, when you do see it and look at it, it has a new look and feel. It's a lot cleaner, it's sharper. All the information, the pertinent information has been moved towards the front of the brochure. There is less type, more visuals, much more user-friendly. The enrollment application at the back has also been cleaned up. We've introduced a QR code that if you like to do that, you take your cell phone, simply scan the QR code. It takes you right to our website, and you can enroll that way. A lot of you enroll via calling our membership team. If that's what you're comfortable doing, continue doing that. You can always contact me. I can help. And again, you can go through our website. And I think a lot of you use Dotloop. Is that right, Tom? You guys use Dotloop?
That is correct. Our whole company does.
Okay, excellent. So, I mean, whatever you guys are comfortable using to enroll, please continue to do that. And if all else fails, by all means, I'm always here to help you. So, I mean, that's pretty much it. You know, the product is still here. We retained all the great stuff, and we've opened it up and expanded it. So I think you'll find that to your liking. And as always, you know, I'm always available. I've spoken to a number of you. Obviously, we're about to go into another heat wave. That does put a strain on our system, obviously. Sometimes things don't happen as quick as they should. If you find yourselves or your clients having a bit of a hold time, give me a call. I can go through, back channels and make that a little bit easier for you, and save you some of that blowback on the phone. That's all I had, Tom. If anybody has any questions, feel free, or you can reach out to me later. Not a problem.
Any questions while Desmond's on the Zoom call here? Okay. Hey, thank you for joining us this morning, Desmond. Appreciate your time.
Sure. I'll hang on if you don't mind. This is some good information here. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, a couple things, just some logistical things and cleaning up some things. Some people have, we're halfway through the year, a little beyond halfway through the year, and people start looking at, oh, what do I do? What do I need to do to get a Berkshire Hathaway Home Services award or a home sale award? I'm not going to read down through this, but this will be in the slides, so you'll be able to see it and you'll be able to gauge where you are at this point in time. These are the BHHS award categories for not only agents, but small, medium, and large size teams. And then here are the home sale awards and the various categories for them also. Once again, they will be in the slides that I send out, so you'll be able to gauge where you are right now. We're having some renovations done here at North Pointe. From August 15th to August 19th, the lobby area and the conference rooms are going to receive new flooring. Now, it's going to be the entire week. So I've looked at our schedule ahead of time, and I basically moved everybody around. This room that you are sitting in is our lone conference room for the week. So if you go to our book to try to book a conference room, you will see everything shaded out. The only room that will be available will be this one. So if you have settlements, I'm not saying we're trying to get rid of you, but we are going to hold settlements in this room. We're going to do a variety of things here, but it may get a little tight. I just want to give you a heads up ahead of time. Okay. This started on August 1st. This is our premier listing package, the home sale premier listing package. And as you might imagine, our staff got trained and they're up to speed with it. And there's been emails that have gone out to you. I've actually talked about it at the previous sales meeting. And as soon as August 1st hit, Janice got thousands of phone calls saying, what is this? So all I wanted to do was let you know that this is being done for you. This is being done for you. Everything that you see there in black, that has already been in the works prior to August 1st. Everything that you see highlighted in yellow, this is new. And our staff will do this for you. Now, for some reason, if you do not want your staff, our staff to do it for you, all you have to do is just let them know. There is a form in Dotloop that when you take a listing, you can either opt in, opt out, but Janice will do all of this for you in that first period of time when the listing goes live. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of this. Once again, take a moment to look at this when the slides come out. If you have additional questions, either see Marion or Janice. They're really up to speed with this right now. And I've got a lot of questions about our drive. our Google Drive, especially when it comes to two things. First has to do with everybody likes the roster sheets that used to come out like every other week because everything changes in the span of 2 weeks. And we would go through reams and reams and reams and reams of paper. And as soon as we put it out, it was outdated within 2 days. So there is a roster on your Google Drive account. Everybody has Google Drive. It's in your home sale account. You can access it from your phone. You can access it from your laptop or tablet. The instructions are here. All you do is click on those 9 dots in the upper right-hand corner in your Google account. It'll take you to your to a whole bunch of icons. Click on the Google Drive icon. There's a spot in there called Shared Drives. Click that. Click Company Rosters and Company Master Roster. It is live in real time. So if you go in here, you will always have the most up-to-date roster. And I should also mention, Marion sends out a calendar for the office, or she used to send out a calendar. This is also on Google Drive. Now she continues to send it out on a monthly basis, but it's a link. That link does not change. So all you have to do the next time, bless you, all you have to do the next time that that link comes out is just save it as a bookmark. And that is your calendar indefinitely, always for North Pointe, okay? Once again, it is in real time versus, you know, having to get behind the 8 ball with changes that are being made. But Google Drive, if you have not been in your Google Drive account, get in there, explore, there's lots of stuff there.
Your business relationships aren't faceless names on a list. These are your clients, your customers, the heart of your business. They expect you to be on top of it all and know it all, every detail of their business, where you left off last, where you are on their project, even the name of their puppy. Yep, even the name of their puppy. It's Scooter, by the way. All these little bits of information are your relationship gold, because being on top of every detail builds a client's confidence in you and leads to more business. But getting to these details when you need them means sifting through a pile of apps. That's why we built one app to bring it all together, automatically, no matter where you work. Welcome to Cloze. Cloze pulls from your apps to automatically create one view of every person and company, all their contact details, and your complete history. Every email back and forth, your calls together, your meetings, your notes on Evernote, documents you exchanged, your interactions on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. As each relationship grows, Cloze keeps you connected, so that when you reach out, you can dig in without having to dig around. Making a call? Cloze has already pulled together everything you need to refresh your memory. Want to know the last time you contacted someone? Cloze knows. Need to retrace who did what the last time around? Cloze gives you one view of a company, so it's right there. With everything in one place, Cloze can put advanced data science to work for you. Cloze figures out who's important and keeps them top of mind, and will even remind you to reach out to a contact and refresh a fading relationship, all automatically. Waiting for follow-up on an important email? Cloze keeps watch. Tired of setting reminders to follow up on customers and prospects? Cloze tells you automatically. Forget data entry. Forget forgetting. Cloze makes relationship management easier and more effective than ever before. Try it for free today. Cloze. Remember everyone.
So I have mentioned this the last couple of meetings. If you have not been in Cloze, you have got to try this out. It is unbelievable. The things that come across my email almost on a daily basis that remind me to do certain things without me even thinking about it is just incredible. I would encourage you, get in there, play around with it. It's very intuitive. I know there's training things here, and I'm going to send out links with the email after this meeting that you can enroll in training. But I got to tell you, I did 0 training because I'm a guy. We don't need training as guys. I just got in there and I just clicked around, and it was fairly easy to go through. But they have training on the site itself. You can get training through our company. There's a variety of different things you can do. So if you do not have a CRM or you're not happy with the one that you have, please try this out. It is a benefit for being associated with our company. Next, I have had a number of people say, I didn't bother with Quick Buy at the very beginning because I didn't think it was of value. And then people are getting asked in the field by sellers, I hear you got this Quick Buy thing. Can you explain it to me? And I'm getting a lot of, well, no, I don't think it's that important. Guys, I think you need to educate yourself on Quick Buy. If you have not been through the training on this, it's fairly simple also, but it's another bullet in your arsenal that you can share with sellers to give them an alternative to what a normal listing would look like. And by the way, even if they use Quick Buy, listing comes back to you. You don't lose anything by referring people into the Quick Buy program, okay? And we have our next installation of Ninja Selling coming up. I've been through this. A number of people have been through this at North Pointe. I'm going to turn this over to Colleen, and right there's the microphone, Colleen. Colleen actually took it with me, like a year ago almost now.
A year ago.
Yeah.
This month.
Yeah. So obviously we took it for kind of management reasons, but I got a ton out of this. And I know Colleen did too. So I just asked her if she'd share some of the things that she took away from this.
So just by a show of hands, who in here has actually gone through the Ninja? Okay. So I was a little skeptical when I first went through it. I did it, as Tom said, management was going to go through it just to kind of see. I was a Buffini fan, some other. By the end of the morning on the first day, I was like, wow, this system works. And that's their slogan, TSW, the system works. It's a mindset. It's a reset. It's tools. It's tips. It's absolutely amazing. So if you have not read the book, I would highly encourage that. I tell people it is career changing when you're in real estate or any line of work. It starts with mindset. It kind of works through that and doing your morning affirmations and your gratitudes. And it does take on a lot of the Buffini mentality for those of you that are familiar with Buffini as far as reach outs and note cards. But it takes it a step further. It will push you in a way that it's all about relationship building. It walks you through the seller process. It lays out the process for you. So TSW, you follow the system, it works. It shows you a buyer process. It gives you all of the tools that you will need to be able to land that buyer who might be on the fence. It helps you with pricing. It helps you with just overall your business confidence presenting yourself. Chandra, who is our company's liaison, I guess, with Ninja, is absolutely phenomenal. She puts on, and Tom can attest to this, she does an amazing job. It's 4 days. They are long days. They do not feel like long days. Lunch is provided. And I promise you, you would not regret it. So I would encourage each and every one of you to take advantage, sign up for this. I am actually hoping that I can pop back in or redo the 4 days in September myself, just as a refresher. That's how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah. The one thing that I see up here that is a little bit off and incorrect talks about the reimbursement. The course itself is $750. However, there is a reimbursement of $100 per transaction, up to 4 transactions, up until September 15th, 2023. It doesn't say 4 transactions there. So in essence, if you take the course, it's a $350 course. Excuse me. Colleen, thank you. All right. Recession. By the way, I enjoyed your email. Thank you. Just our little inside joke, James and I. I'm going to start out this section by saying this is not a section on political affiliations. Has nothing to do with you, if you're on the right side of the aisle, the left side of the aisle. This has everything to do with us as real estate agents who are dealing with clientele in our database who are asking us questions. And by the way, in many instances, they're not even asking us questions. They're frozen in their tracks because they don't want to do anything, because they're hearing we're either in recession or we're not in recession. Depends upon your definition. There's all kinds of things swirling out there. And anytime you have this uncertainty, people just don't make decisions. So I wanted to share some things here today with you. Hopefully you can take away a couple of things that you can share with your buyers and sellers that will make a difference, not only for you, but for them. So here are some headlines that I pulled last week, all on the same day. And keep in mind, I read these headlines, and you know who else reads these headlines? Your clients. Everybody that's in your database is reading the same thing. So from the New York Times, and this was all on July 28th, U.S. economy shows another decline, fanning recession fears. Reuters had U.S. teetering on brink of recession as GDP contracts in the second quarter. And the Wall Street Journal had Biden faces recession worries after 6 months of economic contraction. That's not exactly a glowing endorsement to move forward with the largest transaction that most people will ever make. So when people ask you, what's this going to do to real estate? You need to have some answers for them, okay? And once again, I'm going to try to share some things with you that you can take away from here today. So I'm going to focus on four areas in this little time that we have together. The first are foreclosures. There's been a lot of talk about foreclosures now for months, actually for years, because people are saying this time that we're in right now with these increasing appreciation rates, this can't last forever. This is going to implode. And when it implodes, there's going to be tons of foreclosures. We're going to talk about that. Second is interest rates, and Dan and James are in the back, and you guys can certainly chime in as I go through this portion if you have some things to contribute to interest rates also. Number three is buyer demand, and where is buyer demand today? Is it the same as what it was 6 months ago? Is it the same as what it was a year ago? It's a little different. And the fourth is housing supply. What's going on with housing supply? For those of you that, and I think everybody in this room has been in the real estate business for at least a year or two, most of you, your hair was burned off the top of your head showing houses. Your hair has since grown back, which is great. But you know what it was like trying to get people into properties and get people into properties that didn't go under agreement within 24 hours. It was really hard. We're going to talk a little bit about that. I'll take each one of these sections to share with you my thoughts and also some expert thoughts on where these topics are. Let's deal with foreclosures first. Excuse me. I'm borrowing from MarketWatch, Black Knight Financial Services, and Adam Data Solutions here. These are three well-known companies that do a lot of research in the real estate business. And most of these have to do with foreclosures. I'm going to deal with three different things that are hitting headlines. Headline number one, the number of active foreclosures edged up in March by more than 7,000. 7,000. This is the first year-over-year increase in 10 years. And people went crazy. Okay? Without knowing the backstory. Well, here's the backstory. The number of loans in active foreclosures is still way below historic norms. I don't have a chart up here, but if you looked at a foreclosure chart, you would see that we are way at the bottom, okay, of foreclosures. And number two, the CARES Act. Remember what the CARES Act was? Came into being about a year or so ago. What happened during the CARES Act? Basically, the government says you can't foreclose on anybody. So yes, they increased 7,000 from 0. Okay. So while on the surface, it looks pretty ominous, if you look at the backstory, it's not as bad as what it looks like. Okay. Second headline. More than 78,000 properties had a foreclosure filing during the first quarter of 2022. This is up 39% from the previous quarter and up 132% from a year ago. Once again, if you just read that headline, you got to be thinking to yourself, there's no way in hell I'm getting involved with real estate now. Mortgage services are catching up on processing loans that were already in default prior to the pandemic. I just mentioned a second ago. The whole foreclosure process was shut down. And now all of a sudden, everything's going into the pipeline. Everything is going into the pipeline. And you got, and by the way, do mortgage processors, you guys probably aware of this, does mortgage processors have, do they have a personnel issue with getting people to process stuff? Just like everybody else right now. And secondly, foreclosure activity is only running at 50% of normal level, 50%. So once again, we were scraping the bottom of the barrel. Headline number 3, mortgage delinquencies over 90 days past due are 70% higher than pre-pandemic levels. That seems like a big number. In March, mortgage delinquencies fell 12% for the strongest single month improvement in 20 years. Once again, you have to look at everything in context. So they went down. They went down. 30-day delinquencies plunged 20% from February. So now that all this stuff is now, that we're getting through the CARES Act and we're getting back to normal life in the mortgage processing world and foreclosure world, it's going down through. Forbearance actually worked. It was a government program that they put out there that actually worked. Okay. Throughout history, during a recessionary period, interest rates go up at the beginning of the recession, but in order to come out of a recession, interest rates are lowered to stimulate the economy going forward. Historically, we have seen a repeated uptick in interest rates followed by lower interest rates. Everybody looks at, and I'm sure Dan and James dealt with this, as interest rates were going up, James was dipping into his bourbon upstairs. But there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. So I'm going to show you this chart here, and I have a number of overlays here. So the first thing I want to show you, this is, it's really small for those of you that are in the back of the room, but over here on the left-hand side, this is 1971. 1971, and this is 2021. And this is where interest rates have been. So in the grand scheme of things, as James was dipping into his bourbon right about here, look where here is in relation to everything else and what we've been through. I mean, it's a drop in the bucket. You need to share this with people that you're working with, okay? The first overlay, those kind of purple bars, those are recessions. Those are recessions, okay? So I'll let you take that in for a second. So you saw on the previous slide, what did it say about recessions? Interest rates are up here, and during the course of a recession, what happens to interest rates? They go down, okay? So this is what happened in each one of these recessions. Went from 16% to 11.8%. Went from 18% to 13%. Went from 11 to 8.8. Went from 7.4 to 6.8. Went from 6 to 4.9. Went from 3.8 to 2.8. You see a trend here. If we're in recession, and by the way, I'm not going to guarantee this, They don't guarantee it. I'm not going to guarantee this, but if we're in a recession, the way to get out of recession is lowering interest rates. Okay. That's where I started in the business, right there. And I'm still here today. So you can do this. Okay. If I can do that, you can do this over here. Okay. So here's mortgage rates. This is per week starting January 1st to July 28th. The red bar means it went up that particular week from week to week. The green bar means it dipped a little bit. Once again, do you see a trend here? We got up to, do you guys remember what the highest interest rate was over the last, I don't know, month or two?
I mean, assuming a strong buyer, probably low sixes, I'd say.
Okay. And where are we today? Plus or minus?
As of yesterday, 5.25.
Okay. So we got up and we're now, and with news of the either recession or imaginary recession, you know, the government and everybody else doesn't want this whole thing to implode. Okay. So they will more than likely hold them steady, or they'll drop a little bit. Over the past 5 recessions, mortgage rates have fallen an average of 1.8 percentage points from the peak seen during the recession to the trough. And in many cases, they continue to fall after the fact, as it takes some time to return things even when the recession is over. This stuff doesn't turn around overnight. So as we're moving toward a positive, economic outlook, and we come out of the recession, more than likely, we're going to still be dropping a little bit. Okay. Buyer demand. That was one of the other bullet points. This is a chart that shows the percentage of sellers receiving multiple offers on their home. And this goes from back in April of 2020 to June of 2022. So, and I think everybody's experienced this. We were at the point back in 2020, you see there on the left-hand side, about 46% of sellers got multiple offers on their home. And then you had January of 2022, where it reached about 70%. And by the way, these are national numbers. I would venture to say in Lancaster County, it was actually higher than 70%. Okay. But see what's happened since January of 2022 to June. They've dropped 20 percentage points. And by the way, it's still pretty good. Okay. Buyer demand. As buyer demand moderates, the intensity of bidding wars will ease, resulting in fewer multiple offer scenarios. Once again, April to June, 5.5 offers down to 3.4 offers right now. Okay. That's from a buyer perspective. Now, from a buyer standpoint, this is good news in that, by the way, I don't know about Colleen and the offices that she's involved with now, but I've seen some FHA deals go through, which I haven't seen an FHA in about 1.5 to 2 years. I haven't seen any seller assist yet, but I've seen FHA deals. I've seen some with inspections that have been accepted. So we're starting to see some changes here. By the way, that's great for buyers right there, because now they're in less bidding wars. But it's still great for sellers in that, can you imagine if we step back in time 5 to 10 years and said, well, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you're only going to get 3 offers on your home. I mean, they'd be going crazy. Everything's relative. So it's really good for buyers in that there's less bidding wars, and it's great for sellers in that they're still getting multiple offers. So it's the best of both worlds. Buyer demand. Fewer buyers are bidding over asking price, but it's still a competitive market. From April to June, it's gone from 61% to 51% of contracts that were over top of list price. Once again, great for buyers in that there's more and more buyers out there that are saying, maybe I can get into the market. I mean, you've been showing me homes now for a year. I've submitted 20 offers. And we're getting close to the point where there might not be as much competition. So it's good for buyers, but once again, look at it from the seller's point of view. Sellers are receiving offers with 50% over asking price. That's unheard of. Think about that. I mean, for those of you who have been in business for 15 years, when you would get one offer a year over a list price, you were like, God, what happened here? And 50% of the offers today are over top of list price. Still great for sellers. Here's Lancaster County active listings. This is end of month. That's what EOM stands for, end of month. In January, end of month, total in Lancaster County, we're at 242 listings at the end of the month.
Does that include construction?
Yes. Excuse me, includes everything that's in Bright MLS.
Okay.
So, end of June 2022, we're at 476. Now, it may not seem that way because the market is still moving fairly quickly. But if you step back and look where we were in January and February and look where we are today, inventory levels are growing. They're growing to the point of it's actually 97% more than where we were in January. Okay, which is a good thing. A really good thing. Here's housing inventory is increasing, which means more options for buyers. So these are national averages. By the way, in Lancaster County, those numbers are high. They're actually less in Lancaster County, but this is coming from NAR. In April, it was 2.2. May, it was 2.6. June, it was 3.0. It's great news for buyers in that inventory levels are going up. Okay? However, if I'm a seller, I'm still in control. 3 months worth of inventory is still well below 5 or 6 months, which is a balanced market. So sellers are still in control, but buyers are feeling much better in that there's more out there to select from. Okay. So here's the market scoreboard. We just went through foreclosures, interest rates, buyer demand, and housing supply. The B stands for buyer, the S stands for seller. Foreclosures. Well, I give the seller the check mark for this one because if I'm a seller, I'm thankful that foreclosures are way, way down here because I don't have to compete with them. We all know back in 2008, 2009, when all these REOs and foreclosures hit the market, we were dealing with, trying to list a property that was was in a great neighborhood, in great shape. And there's a house right down the street that's selling for $50,000 less because it was a foreclosure. Well, probably not going to happen as much. So I think the seller's in a great position here with foreclosures. Interest rates. I think buyers still are in a great position here. If you looked at that earlier chart, historically, we are way, way below where historic interest rates are. Buyers are still in a good position. And as you saw by one of the charts, it actually kind of peaked and is coming down the other side, which is good. Buyer demand. I think both get a check mark here. Buyers are feeling good. By the way, we all know that the number of properties are being pended is still about the same as it was the last couple of months. But sellers feel good about this also in that buyers are still out there buying property, and even though inventory is growing, sellers are still in control. And housing supply, buyers feel good that there's more to pick from. And sellers feel good because it's still a seller's market. Okay. So hopefully you can take a couple of these things, share them with your clients, some things that they may have questions on or don't really understand. And I saw this quote and I thought it was extremely appropriate for the period of time in which we're going through right now. It's an African proverb that says, smooth seas do not make skillful sailors. We're going through a very kind of tumultuous time with the press and everybody piling on saying things are really bad. That's where we enter the picture as agents to work with buyers and sellers and our insurance people and title people and mortgage people. We're all in this together and we'll get through this. Okay. So hopefully you can pick up a couple things here. Yeah, James.
Obviously, price point plays a big part in absorption.
Yes.
Is there a price point above which we are more into a buyer's market than a seller's market?
The question from somebody in our group here said absorption rates, this was a general absorption rate across all price ranges. Are there certain price ranges that are better than others at this point in time? Lower price ranges have a lower absorption rate. Higher price range has higher absorption rates. It's kind of been that way over time anyway, but it's still the same. By the way, next sales meeting, I'm going to do a section on pulling stats out of Bright. I get a lot of people that come to me, just like what James said, and saying, hey, I'm trying to list a house in Conestoga Valley. And while those figures that you give us are for Lancaster County, how does that compare to Conestoga Valley? I'm going to show you how to do that because there's some really great things that Bright offers you that I believe a lot of people don't take advantage of. They don't even know it's there. So my next sales meeting, we're going to spend some time and I'm going to show you how to pull some of these statistics out so that you can work with sellers better. Great question. Anything else? Have a great day. Plenty of food over there.